Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. All right, y'all, I finished my hair. I've got charms, so 4 of my twists have 4 charms on it. 4 is significant, not only because I'm 4 decades old, but my life path number is 4. So these are my twists. I did it. Look at the screen. I'm gonna put up a little picture. Do y'all remember this little girl's face? Earlier when I was finishing my hair, I imagined to myself that some of y'all would be like, oh, you know, sometimes people, they don't dislike it, but they don't like it and they don't really know how to respond. So this is one of my favorite hairstyles to do. It's just called Cuban twists. Yeah, so this is it. I hope you love it. Alrighty, so I normally like put it back and tie it up because I don't really like to feel it scratching me. All right, y'all, so all right, she's done. I did her. All right, we're gonna jump into the reading. I don't think there's anything else that so I'm a little behind on comments, and then there are emails that I'm still responding to, okay? I got a lot of birthday love. I got birthday gifts, birthday blessings today, so thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. 40 is amazing. Somebody said to me a few days ago, welcome to the 4th floor. I thought that was so cool. Or like the 40 club. So yeah, like this is exciting. I'm grateful to be doing this with you. Thank you for the feedback about the most recent video where I switched the style. I definitely recognize me getting comfortable. It's like as soon as I get comfortable, I get a nudge to do something different. And so obedience, you know, I'll just go with it. And so when you see me being nervous, I'm nervous. Yes, I am, you know, because it's new, but I'm doing it with you or in front of you. And so, yeah. Every time I've switched, there has been a growth period where I've kind of had to wait to feel comfortable, you know? And so you're gonna see me, you'll see me, can't hide it, right? So yeah, there's a flow. Someone also mentioned a flow. They kind of appreciated the other way because I had a flow. So I'm hoping that over time I will find my flow. And every time I've switched, I've had to develop a flow. At some point, maybe I won't have cards. Maybe it'll just be straight messages and downloads. I'll get there when I am moved there. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I love you. Thank you. Let's get into the reading. So I'm starting the reading with this. I'm always going to show you the back of the cards for the deck I use. Sometimes they have the names, sometimes they don't. But in the event that you want to know the deck, just describe what you see, and then I'll search through my history to see what I purchased and what it's called, and I'll respond to you, okay? All right, so I hope you're doing well. Alrighty. I got my heater on my toes. It's cold again. It was really warm today, but the temperature drops kind of extreme. All right, so I did get 2 cards that flipped over, but all right, here we go. So first card is past life. Now, when past life comes out, it legit can be a past life, you know, another lifetime that you had when you were on Earth. Sometimes I just take it as this lifetime, but we're talking about a specific period in the current life that you're living. Next card we have is trust. So far we have past life, we have trust, safe travel. Okay, so in the center of the reading, the main thing that we're talking about is the ability to travel safely in all directions. And when we're talking about safe travel in all directions, it's mentally, it's emotionally, it's financially, it's spiritually. That's how I interpret that card. Now, the color of this card is green, and so I think about the heart chakra. And so I think that it is finally safe for your heart to kind of get back out there again. Sometimes it is very much appropriate for us to protect our heart, for us to keep it closed, for us to not share, for us to kind of pull back a little bit. But based on the energy that I'm getting right now, I think it is finally okay for us to kind of stick a toe in the water and to test the waters. Now, when you stick your toe in the water, you are you're bringing past life treasures. When I see past life and trust and safe travel, I feel like some of us have almost returned to periods energetically. We've returned to periods of time where we were wealthier, we were wiser, we were stronger, life was different. And so imagine if somewhere on a different dimension, different reality, we've kind of snatched down some of our past life treasures, and Spirit is saying, listen, you can trust this. Next, we have protection. This is, you only get this stuff when you're working. You can only get these cards coming out in this sequence when you have put the work in. So this is a reflection. So not only can you travel safely, there's one reader I love to watch, but like when her spirit team is talking to her, her nose starts to itch. And I noticed when I was watching back some of my readings, like I'll start doing this, and she's like, my nose. And so I'm starting to recognize how my body physically responds when spirit is kind of amening or kind of co-signing, like, I'm saying the right thing. But nonetheless, you can travel safely, you can trust the season and the time that you're in, and you have protection in all directions, right? And then, you know what? When I see the past life card, I almost think of rollover minutes, right? You remember back in the day when we used to have cell phones, and then finally we have magic. So let me just go over this real quick. So we have protection and then magic. So you could be protected from magic in the event that people attempt to kind of mess with you, right? You are protected from magic, but I also think that there is a protection magic that you have invoked. Like there is a protection magic that is attached to you. Imagine like a silent buzzer, or what are those electric fences, right? It looks like you're just you alone, but if somebody tries to touch you, it's almost like they get shocked. So you are protected from magic, but there is a protection magic that kind of circles around you in all directions. So you really can travel safely in any direction because of what is now attached to you. And this could be a treasure that you had to pull forth from your past life. Now, when I see past life, I was saying that I almost think of rollover minutes, right? There is a card in a deck that I have, and it says that karma, when we're talking about karma, it is not only unique to the lifetime that you're living. Anything that you've done in a previous lifetime, for good or for bad, karma has the ability to show up, right? And so in the event that we're talking about karma, I feel like you have access to treasures, gifts, gems, Judies, treasures, what was I gonna say? Treasures, gifts, gems, jubies? I don't know. Jubies? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. All right, so it's all right. Now, next deck, to clarify the deck I just pulled, I'm going to use the Kipper-ish, okay? Oh, something I wanted to mention to y'all. Balance is super important. And I'm just anal, and I'm just like rigid, like I just am. I think it's a part of being a 4, honestly. So I like to have my own deck on the table. I like to have an oracle deck. I like to have a tarot deck. I like to have a clarifying deck, like a little bit of everything. Yeah, just a little bit of everything. It's like I like to sample and just to see how the decks support each other. Now, I was kind of getting on myself earlier because decks are like shoes. Like once you break it in and once you feel comfortable and once you understand how the deck communicates with you and your energy, it's really hard to go pick up on a brand new deck because you got to break it in, you got to get comfortable. And so I was getting on myself because I like to use the same 8 or so decks, and I don't really like to stray, but I have a lot of decks, and sometimes I need a variety of decks based on the questions that you're looking for, right? So it's good to have a variety, but at the same time, they're like shoes. Like once you break them in and get comfortable, like it's hard to just go put on a brand new pair because you got to go through the process again. And so the decks I'm using tonight, these are all broken in. These are the ones I most love, okay? And so I don't know if I said this, but I'm using the Kipper-ish Oracle by Intuitive Kev. And so the first card I put down is going to go on top of past life. Now I got 2 cards come out. I have Real Love upright and I have the Boss in reverse. I'm going to put them back. All right, so first card we get out is trusted. So listen, we already have trust in one deck, and now we have trusted. And this is coming out on top of past life. And so I really do think that you have retrieved gems. Maybe I was trying to say gems. I don't know. I think that you have been able to call down your past life. Think about rollover minutes, right? Let's say you get 100 minutes where you can use in one lifetime. Well, when you passed away in your last lifetime, you were only 75. You had 25 minutes left that you can use. So now you're in this lifetime, and Spirit says, well, you can still pull down those 25 minutes or so from your past life, but I first need you to burn off karma. Like, we need to make sure that you are fit. We need to make sure that you can carry them, that you can hold them, right? So you spend time in this actual lifetime kind of burning off karma, getting fit, getting ready. And so now you are trusted to kind of pull down all of those rollover minutes that you didn't get a chance to spend before that life transitioned, right? And so this feels like an elevation. This feels like an acknowledgement of what you've done, what you've achieved. And so you are trusted to kind of walk in the gifts of your past life. So let's say that you had a position of honor. And for you to have safe travel, protection magic, like already, we're not talking about some, like, you are a person of honor, you are a person of rank, you are a person of value. But you had to prove that you could call back this energy to you. You had to show that you can walk in it upright. And for a lot of us, we had to crawl for a lot of years before we were fit to walk upright in our past life rank or our past life energy. So that's trusted twice. Now next we have false. Okay, here we go. All right. Trusted past life. Let me just sit with it, and I'm gonna keep, oh God, y'all. All right, I'm gonna break it down to you. All right, finally, ascending. Okay. All right, so shit changed really quickly. Everything I said could still be true. But we've got other players, we've got other people's energies that have immediately come out. And so what I'm seeing now is that somebody trusted something false, right? So I was talking about past life trusted. Like, yes, it is true that you are able to walk in your past life energy. You can carry it now. Your muscles are big enough, you're strong enough. But at the same time, the next card that comes out is false. So this is false information, false statements, false agreements, false documents. Now those false documents come out on trust. This is what I'm seeing. I see false and it comes out on trust. All right. So something about what you have in your past life. Somebody was misled. Somebody was lied to. I'm thinking that somebody thought that whatever you had in your past life, they could essentially borrow those 25 rollover minutes for their present life. So somebody trusted something false, something that belongs to you. I told you in the center of the reading, we're talking about safe travel. On top of safe travel, we get entity attachment. So for a period, see, here's the fuckery. Let's say you burn off karma. You've been working, you've been crawling. Finally, you get to the point where you're walking upright. Now, spiritually, all you had to do was stand up and walk on 2 feet. For spirit to understand that you're ready. You're finally ready to walk in those 25 minutes that you didn't get to spend. But somebody is watching you, and in order for people to be watching you, they already have to have an idea of who or what you were in your past life. They have to understand what was due to you, what was owed to you. And this is giving me the energy of, like, you know how you watch a baby take their first steps? I'm getting the energy that people, not only your spirit team and your ancestors and your guides, but like the adversary, the opposition, those that may have been in a past life with you. They've reincarnated into this life, and they've been watching and waiting for you to get to the point where you are walking on 2 feet. This is what I'm feeling. And so as soon as they see you walking, can you imagine a baby just learning to walk and you push a child down? You know, think about that. That is essentially what happens to us. Now, they can push you down spiritually. They can push you down physically, emotionally, mentally. There are many ways to push you down so that you are not fit, so that you are no longer able to walk upright in order to carry this energy, this mantle, right? And so one of the ways that they pushed you down, they wanted to stop you from traveling safely is by attaching an entity to you. But here's the thing. Remember I talked about, yeah, it's good to travel safely because you got protection. Now, on top of protection, to clarify, we have a nammer. And so somebody pushes you down thinking that you won't get back up. When they push you down, they really attach an entity. And so it means that they've pulled you down vibrationally. They've pulled down your frequency, right? And so their goal is to make you unfit so that you can't carry the mantle anymore. They want you to crawl again. They don't want you to be a walker. They want you to be a crawler. But the thing is, it's like maybe you fell for a period of time, but you got right back up. And so now somebody is enamored with your level of protection. But here's the thing. Who the fuck were you in your past life? Like, that is a question that many of us need to ask. We need to find out. Nobody robs an empty house. And so if all of your treasure is tied to those 25 minutes that you couldn't spend, and people have been waiting for you to get fit, for you to get strong, for you to get ready to carry them in this lifetime, who were you? What were you capable of? What did you do? What did you accomplish? Who did you inspire? Who did you lead? Like, what was the depth of your greatness? Nobody is going to troll you and attack you and send threats of all kinds and send magic and spell. Nobody does that if you're broke. Nobody does that if you have nothing worth stealing, worth taking. You understand what I'm saying? And so to watch you crawl, to watch you stand up and walk and then immediately push you down by way of sending an entity to you. But then they realize, oh my God, you're too protected. So now they are enamored with your protection. But here's the thing. This is how I know this is a reflection of the work you've put in. So they are enamored with your protection, but you only have this protection because you've ascended, right? And so that's what I mean. Like, you can't walk unless you have done everything you needed to do while you were going through life on all fours, right? And so the period of time where we are crawling and life seems like it is working against us and not for us, although it is always working for us, it's always working in our favor. Like, until we can get to that point, crawling is ascending. That is a level of your ascension. And so somebody is enamored with your protection, but they've also recognized that you must have ascended in order to be beyond the magic, in order to be beyond the entities that they have sent to you. Now, we don't quite know who these people are. I'm about to use my handmade deck, and then I have one more row to clarify, and then I'll go a little deeper. So somebody heard something about you that was false. They heard that they can access you. They heard that they can take something from you. They heard that all they had to do was attach a demon to you to get you to be unfit, right? And so they send the demon, and this is why that demon is looking for another place to live, because there's no space for them. So this one, we have self-management, shows self-motivation. And so this is an attribute of who you were in your past life. So I want you to think about yourself right now. This is a part of your self-management. Listen, the first company you will ever run is your body, your vessel. The way you show up every day inside of your own body, the way you show up in your existence, the way you manage yourself, right? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so how do you manage self? In the event that you show self-motivation, that is a characteristic or a trait that was unique to you in your past life. You know, sometimes when we're thinking about who we were in our past life, we're looking for things that are major, right? But this one specific skill, the ability to motivate self, meaning you don't need anybody to validate you. You don't need anybody to tell you what to do. Like, there's a level of righteousness that you just naturally carry and vibe off of. And so you're always doing the right thing or the moral thing or the ethical thing. And it's not because it is because it is you. It is because it is you. All right. Next, relationship skills, works as a member works as a member of a team. All right, let me get this. Hold on. So somebody, okay, so remember, we're still talking about past life. So somebody, I'm getting the idea that somebody said you're an asshole. They're hard to work with. They're not a good listener. They're not fair. They're not balanced. Maybe they're judgmental. Maybe they're a bully. Maybe they're stubborn or arrogant or a brute, right? So some of these traits that are coming out, I feel like these are true reflections of who you are. But the lies, the slander, the gossip that people have told about you, it has been contrary, right? But in order for you to ascend, in order for you to have done all of that crawling to the point that you are trusted to carry your past life gifts, I feel like people were coming at you, but they were coming at you off of a false narrative, right? And so when they attack you, they think that you are still a crawler, right? And so you're lazy, you're not motivated, right? You don't know how to manage your time. You don't know how to manage your money. You don't know how to manage your thoughts. You don't know how to manage your emotions. Not only that, but in relationships, in groups, in families, in friendships, like you're a jerk. You're not a good partner. Like these are some of the false things that people were saying. You had to be a leader in your past life. Like right? Because when we're thinking about leaders, a lot of time what makes a leader, it's not what they say. It's literally by watching what they do, right? And so if you get up every day, if you can do the same thing every day because you understand the value that it deposits into your life, like that is self-management, right? That's running yourself like a business. You are a well-oiled machine. All you could have done is cut the grass, brush your teeth, wash your hair. We're not talking about major tasks, but it's like just those little things where you were just consistent and you do not break a stride. Like those are attributes that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people only have them when they're told to do something, or they only do it when people are watching them, right? Or they got to feel a certain kind of way. Alrighty. So spirit trusts you to work on a team. Spirit trusts your ability, your relationship skills when you're working alongside another. Now next, it says offended people, those who have been wronged. Now this is safe travel. Now these are the people that didn't want you to travel safely. Travel safely means you get to go in this life and there's no obstacles, there's no trials. Now yes, we have them, but you understand what I'm saying? Like there are no major roadblocks that are going to stop you from walking out your past life destiny. But there are offended people. Now why are they offended? I don't know. Maybe we'll know soon. But there are offended people. These are the type of energies that wanted to stop you from being able to travel safely. These are also the same kind of people that were falsely creating narratives about who you were. I've said before that when people can't control you, they will control the minds of those around you, right? And so just think about that. When somebody can't control you, they can't stop you, right? If you manage yourself, you're motivated, you're kind, like just think about all those qualities. You're just a team player. Like you're the person that everybody wants to play life with, right? Everybody wants to play life with you because of how you show up in your own life. But then there are people who are offended, maybe because they're not able to do what you can do. And so they can't stop you. So what they do is they stop others around you from being able to relate and connect and believe and trust in you. Next, we have an adinkra symbol. I am not carrying your basket. And so this is about industry, self-reliance, and economic self-determination. And so the offended people that don't manage their time, they don't manage their thoughts, they don't manage their emotions, they're shitty when they work on teams. And why are they shitty? You know those people who are competing with you in private or in silence, and you have no idea why this is a competition, right? Everybody gets 24 hours, and our goal is to be better in this 24 hours in our present than we were in our past 24 hours. Like, why compete? Right? We can just play together. So the people that are offended are the people that can't walk like you. They're still crawling. Some of them stopped crawling. They just laid down and took a nap. They're laying on their back. Like those are the people that will get offended at you being able to walk. Now, when we're talking about being enamored with your protection, They only know you have protection because they wanted you to carry their basket. So these are the people that believe something false or were told something false about you. And they thought that maybe if they attach this entity to you, not only would you not be able to travel safely, but you would look more like them. Right? And so sometimes people would rather get you to crawl again as opposed to following you and doing exactly what you did to figure out how the hell did you walk. Right? All right, we got one more card from my handmade deck. And it says, fruits of offense can cause betrayal, backsliding, loss of destiny. And this is what I mean. There are people who already knew what your destiny was. And they've been watching you and waiting for you to walk and take those first steps, right? And so now they create the narratives, they use the lies, they use the gossips. And so these are offended people that were hoping to put an offense in you, right? These are people that do so much, they do a lot of shit to you. And they are hoping that you end up like them, that you pick up so many offenses that you can't walk anymore. You gotta crawl because now you're carrying karma. You're carrying bitterness. Now listen, when people are doing things to interrupt you negatively, energetically, they are betraying you so that you betray yourself. Right? They're pulling you back and hoping that if I pull you back long enough, you'll just backslide and I can take my hands off of you and you're still going to keep going backwards, right? These are people that want you to lose your destiny because at some point they recognize that they have lost theirs, but they're unfit and they're not willing to crawl. These people have stopped and just sat, refused to get up. They're just sitting. And so how dare you? How dare you keep crawling, right? How dare you keep crawling? These are the type of people that see you crawling. They already understand that you're working through some things. A lot of the things they've probably projected onto you, right? They see you working through some things. Can you imagine crawling and somebody throws broken glass on the floor? Somebody throws thumbtacks? You know, think about that. That is the energy. And the idea is that you get so hurt with what they've done to you that you're like, fuck it, I ain't crawling no more. I'm done. Like, what's the point? The point was to walk. But if you quit crawling, you can forget about walking in your past life energy. You will lose your destiny because you're pissed off that the glass was on the floor. You're pissed off, you know? And so these are people that do things to you, hoping that you pick up the same energy that they use to put down the obstacle. When they put the obstacle down, they were ashamed. They were ashamed because of how they felt or how they looked when they were standing next to you, when they were standing opposite you. That is the same energy that they project when they try to cause you to be offended, right? It's really disgusting. I don't like to be like too personal and stuff, but it is. But when you think about it, because we all have time, right? We all have time. And so why would you stop the person that's walking? Everybody's job is to learn to walk. Why would you stop the walker? You know what I'm saying? Ask the walker. So how did, you know what I mean? Like, pick their brain, pick their spirit, pick their emotions. Figure out how they did it. Don't stop them from doing it. But this is what this is. This is you finally being able, you being trusted, like spirit trusts you to be able to call down or call back all of your energy. And somebody saying no, they're not fit, you know? And not only that, but they wanted you to carry their basket. So here you are, you know, these are people that feel like they should go with you. Now I have celebration. See, this is your energy. Past life, self-management, you show self-motivation. This is your season of celebration. And there are a lot of people who are not invited to the party. They're not invited to the party because you told them they can't go, but the party is for walkers only. You gotta walk. Are you walking yet? No. Why aren't you walking? I don't know. Right? Well, in which set of 24 hours are you going to ask yourself, why am I not walking? Right? And so instead of figuring out how to walk in the series of 24 hours that you're given, you're deciding that you were just going to trip somebody. You were going to corrupt their path. You are going to distort their view so that they don't know where they're going, right? You're going to mess with their energy supernaturally by attempting to attach an entity to them, because you don't want them to move at all, right? Can you think of that? You have 24 hours to figure out how to walk every single day, and all you can do with your 24 hours is come up with ways to get somebody else to stop walking, and you don't know why you're not walking. All right, so we have love affair. So, okay, so this is still a part of your celebration, right? So we're celebrating. You are trusted. See, and the love affair comes out with relationship skills, works as a member of a team. So one of the offended people here that are still trying to corrupt or obstruct your path could be somebody that you've been with in the past. And so all they can do is talk about how awful you were. Anybody that's willing to listen, they're just willing to tell them about how horrible of a partner you are. But remember, we have false documents. And so this is almost giving me the energy of like a scorned lover, right? And a lover doesn't have to be anybody that you were intimately connected to. This could be a family member, like somebody that you shared love and space and time with. But this is somebody who had an experience with you. For whatever reason, it ended. Knowing who you truly are, knowing what they did in order to contribute to the ending. This is somebody that hasn't been able to face themselves. And so all they can figure out to do is to just speak poorly of you so that people think that you were the terrible one in the relationship. Well, it didn't work out because you're not a good team member. You know, you're not a good team member because you don't work, you don't pull your weight, you're dishonest, you know, anything that could possibly be said. And so it's now people start to trust the narrative of you, right? But anybody that can trust a narrative of you that's negative, these weren't really people that were a part of your path anyway. They're not walkers, right? Because a walker is going to be like, well, if you're telling me this about them, did you go and tell them? Well, what did they say when you told them how you felt about them, right? Like, we're going to ask, we're going to dig deeper. We're not just going to take, if I have a problem with you, it's because I have a problem with you. Nobody else can not like you and convince me not to like you. Like, I had to have had a personal experience with you, and that would have been enough for me to know that our paths are not supposed to cross, right? But these are like a whole bunch of crawlers in their own way. Some people can just be emotional crawlers, emotional, you know, or mental crawlers, right? They don't, you understand what I'm saying? It could break down differently. So somebody trusted something false about you, and it came from somebody close enough to you, somebody that you had a relationship with. Now it says love affair. Now next we have safe travel. Oh no, we have vacation. This is coming out. Yes, and so this is what I'm saying. By the time you are pulling back those 25 minutes of your past life, you would consider that to be a vacation. Now, you don't physically have to take a vacation, but what the energy feels like when you finally are able to walk in your past life energy, the rest of life will honestly feel like paid time off. Like, you're here, you're living, but just the air is different. The energy is different. It's freedom. Life will feel free. You will no longer feel like you're going against you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it feels like we're walking through mud energetically, or we're stuck in quicksand. Think about those seasons, those years, those months where it was like we needed so much labor to do simple things. The vacation says, you know, and so these are people that know that you finally got to the vacation season of your life, and they are offended. And so they do anything, they say anything to anybody that's willing to listen. Now, after vacation, we have sweet success. All of this is still your energy, by the way. Celebration, love affair, vacation, sweet success. Sweet success, says it is easy for me to get what I want. Once you are walking, it is easy for you to get what you want. These are people that know that everything you want wants you. Everything that you enjoy also enjoys you. It's no longer difficult, right? Because you have a level of protection. And so these people are enamored with your protection, but they're only enamored with it because they got to meet it firsthand. They got to meet it firsthand because they sent an entity in to influence you. Now, the person that was lying about you, creating false statements, the lover, could have had an entity attached to them, you know, or they could have said something false, and they only knew to say something false because they were the one who sent the entity. And so a lot of times that is what happens. Somebody will throw spell work on you, right? And they understand the intention of the entity and of the spell work that they sent to you. And once they feel like you and the entity are married and y'all are bound together, well, then they'll start talking. And everything that they say about you, I mean, if you look with your two eyes, it is absolutely true, but that is not your natural essence. That's not your natural energy. It's because they did something wicked behind the scenes, right? And so the way you're living life, it's not genuinely you. All right, we'll get one more from this deck. So 2 flipped. Okay, 2 came out, 1 flipped. We have fast changes. I'm putting this one back. But I am keeping power. It says focus on your needs. You have the power to take control of your life and take control of your family. Yes, this is the season you're in. You are in control over every aspect of your life. Celebration, love affairs, vacations, sweet success, and power. And there are some people, and these are all giving past people. Some of them can be past life people, but these are just people from your past where you spent time with. You had, y'all, this, let me show you. I told you. So the deck I just used, that's the back of it. So I don't know the name of it, but if you describe what you see, just ask me. All right, so now I'm going to clarify with the tarot. So this is where we're going to get specific to find out who some of these people are. We're already at 35 minutes. I still wanted to use 3 more decks. Alrighty, here we go, y'all. Hold on. So these are the parts of the video where I'm like, well, how do I fill in the silence? You know, I guess I could stop talking and I could listen in the event I get a download. I'm just speaking out loud so you know what I'm thinking. Alrighty. So this is going to clarify celebration. So Hierophant. Now, you are celebrating past life. Like you, okay, so you're celebrating spiritually, your ancestors, like your whole squad is celebrating you because you are finally moving into the energy of who you were, right? Karma's gone. You've done that. It's time for a new season. Somebody trusted a Hierophant. So this is who's moving against you. So when the Hierophant comes, typically this could be a religious person. It could be a religious group. This could be like some type of structured order or structured sect of people. Now, you could think of a priest, right? If a priest tells you something, are you going to believe them? Like, you know what I mean? Like if a priest were to describe a person as being good or a person as being bad, typically you would believe them. Now, in your past life, you could have been a Hierophant, right? A Hierophant is essentially a teacher, you know, but it's a master teacher. It is somebody who carries wisdom. And you don't always have to be initiated into something formal in order to assume this type of position. If you were a priest or a priestess or something like that in your past life, it's like finally you are walking upright, which means you can walk in that position again. And there could be people close enough to you who understand that that was always the calling. That was always the destiny that you were going to be given in this life. And so they do everything to corrupt the narrative about who you are so that you cannot be seen as a wise leader. Now next we have the 8 of Pentacles. All right, so now you could be this Hierophant that is working. The 8 of Pentacles is about mastery. It's about hard work. In numerology, the number 8 is the CEO. It is the boss. It is the mogul, right? When you're talking about 4, a 4 has the ability to run a home. 4s are teachers, right? They can manage homes. When you're thinking about the 8, you just double the 4. So not only do you manage the home, but you can manage the company. If you're managing the company as the CEO or the mogul, you're managing everybody's home, right? Because you're paying them, right? And so this is the mogul. And so you are this Hierophant, but I also, okay, so you are the past life Hierophant, but I almost feel like the present day Hierophants, I'm really getting like a religion, like, you know, possibly people who are bound to religion. Now, I'm not specifically speaking about like Christ or Christ consciousness, but I'm just talking about like the method of religion, just the, you know, which really doesn't require anything spiritually. It is just a practice. Something about your work, something about the work you do, that is what people are considering false. Now, if you are a wise teacher, a sage, a Hierophant, if you are finally walking, and if you've been trusted to carry this energy or to move through this energy, I feel like the Hierophants of Earth life today, those are the people that are opposing you. Like, whether you know it or not, sometimes Hierophants can be secret covens or secret groups or societies, right? And so you have the ability to just, I mean, fire all of them. Not because you have to go to them independently, but when you walk in your energy upright, it is very clear that they are not you. It is clear that they don't know what you know. They can't do what you do, right? And so these would have been the people that are like, please don't walk, please don't walk, please keep crawling, please keep crawling. Because I swear to God, if you walk, we got to go to lay down. We got to go to sleep, right? And so this is somebody who doesn't want to see the shift. They don't want things to balance. And so in order to get things not to shift and to balance and to move naturally in your favor as they should, these are people that'll say whatever they got to say. They'll do whatever they have to do, right? So not only do they lie and they falsely speak about your work, but they also send entities to you, right? But then they fall in love with the fact that you're protected, right? But you're only protected because the entity can only attach to you if you're still a crawler. If you're a walker, the entity's like, I can't do nothing with that. I can't do nothing with that, right? And so you have ascended. You've ascended beyond the magic. Now we have Temperance. Duh. So Temperance angel, they had tried to attach an entity to an earth angel. Attempted to attach an entity to an earth angel. So you are the earth angel, and it is the Hierophants that have been working. They've been trying to master. They've been trying to master what? They've been trying to master labeling you as somebody who is false in any way possible. So they corrupt your mind, they corrupt your emotions, they distort your spirit, they do whatever they have to do. They break down every aspect of your life so you don't look like the earth angel that you are, right? And then they get offended when the shit doesn't work. Maybe they'll knock you down. Maybe you'll crawl for a couple of years and then you'll start walking again. Or here they come again, and now you're going to crawl for a few weeks and then you get up again. It's that energy. Right? And so when the entity comes to you, the entity is like, I literally, like, I can't ride with them, right? Who did you send me to? Now we have a King of Wands. Now it is the King of Wands who is enamored with you. Now the King of Wands, this could be a magician. When we're talking about the wand, that's power, that's magic, that's sorcery, that's, you know. And so this person is staring at you, but when they're staring at you, they're almost enamored. Now they may not be telling anybody else this, but they are intrigued, they are inspired, right? This is also the person who wanted you to carry their basket. So what was the motivation? Right? Maybe this is the key player. What was the motivation? Now, when we're talking about the King of Wands, this could be somebody who's attractive and charming, and maybe they lead with their wand, their sexual energy. Maybe they're very lustful, but nonetheless, they have an energy that is captivating. But right now, they are captivated by you because they unsuccessfully they can't take you down, right? And I don't even think you're trying. Maybe you know who this person is, maybe not, but this is the person who's only enamored because they sent entities to you because they wanted to travel safely. They wanted you to carry their basket. They wanted a vacation. They wanted freedom. They wanted time off. They wanted sweet success. You were their ticket to sweet success. All right, we'll get one more from Tarot. Y'all, we're already at 43 minutes. Now we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, y'all, so who is this? Because now we got counterparts, but the Queen of Wands has ascended. You are the Queen of Wands. Right now, I'm talking to a Queen of Wands type of energy. you have ascended. You are in your power. And so this is somebody who has recognized that for every piece of magic they throw, you're going to throw magic right back. They cannot out-magic you, right? That's what I'm getting here. So the Earth Angel, listen, there are so many faces to the Earth Angel, and the Earth Angel doesn't always look one way. The Earth Angel doesn't always move or have one ability or one trait. Like, there's a variety, right? Think about Earth. There's a variety. There's not one kind of bird. There's not one kind of tree. There's not one kind of anything. And so when we're talking about an Earth Angel, this specific Earth Angel is coming out as a Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen of Wands is somebody who's attractive, somebody who has a certain, listen, you have the same amount of swag as the King of Wands, but you use it differently. You use it in a very angelic way. And so this is somebody that, listen, maybe they are attracted to you. Maybe there is something, you know, that they want. Obviously they want somebody, they want you to carry their basket. They don't want to work. They want everything that is yours, right? But they can't touch it. And even if they tried to touch you negatively again and again, you still ascended. You still learned to walk. And so now we see it. This is a counterpart. This is a match. Now, I'm not saying divine. I'm not saying like that kind of counterpart, but this is somebody that you have gone toe to toe with, whether you know it or not. Y'all have gone toe to toe, blow after blow, with magic after magic after magic after magic, right? But you don't use it the same way. And so now you are the Queen of Wands, and you're standing in your power, and you can control your life. You can control your mind, your emotions, your finances. Everything that made you a crawler, you had to master. You had to work through it. You had to be diligent. You had to manage yourself. You had to learn to work with other people. You had to have people attack you and somehow not be offended that they were foolish enough to do that. You had to learn how to keep going. You had to learn how to heal, right? You're crawling, they're throwing shit on the ground, your knees and hands are getting cut. Well, you got to sit down for a little bit because you got to heal, right? In order to sit down and be like, you know what, I know I'm sitting, I know I'm not moving, but it's only because I'm healing, right? Sometimes when you sit, people think you're out of the game. They think that shit really worked. But when you start crawling again, and then when you start standing up and pulling up, oh my God, can you imagine? So right now you're taking control of your life, your career, your finances, and you're focusing on your needs. But you were always supposed to be so offended that you lost your destiny. So offended that you just started to backslide. And so much so that you couldn't recover your position, right? And so this is somebody that betrayed you. This is somebody that used betrayal. And when we're talking about false, this means that this is somebody that created a narrative. They planted a seed, right? They wanted everybody close to you to be offended by something about you, whether you did it or not, it doesn't matter, right? This is somebody that understands how magic and energy works. They're just transferring energy. They're transferring the energy of offense. Nobody knew they were doing it because this person just wanted to live their life off of you energetically, right? The only motivation, the only intention of this person was so that you would carry their basket. Y'all, I was going to pull more cards. We're already at 47 minutes. All right, I'll just, I'm going to use these. Somebody asked what these are, and I responded. I think it's like mist and shadow. So this is what it looks like in case you're wondering. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to pull 5 more of these and we'll close out. So I'm recognizing that when I do these readings, they're going to be a lot longer. And please continue to give me feedback. I have a feeling that I'm going to be sticking with this style of reading, just because I understand what I was called to kind of move to, you know. So yeah. All right, so first card that comes out is Honor What Is Ending, and this comes out with the Hierophant. You know, here's the thing. I'm going to look at the Hierophant as a society, as a group, right? And so maybe in your past life you were this Hierophant. In this life you're showing up as this magical earth angel, but you still can pull on you are the Hierophant from a previous lifetime. And so those that are walking in false energies and cloaking themselves and shit that doesn't belong to them, like those people need to honor what is ending, right? And so I almost feel like there was a Hierophant, a group, a society, an organization that trusted this King of Wands, right? Although they spewed nothing but lies, they trusted them. But the fact that you're beating entities and eating, you know, dark energy for breakfast and not missing a beat, These people are understanding that whatever they've been able to live in or walk in, which is probably your past life energy that you didn't have access to as long as you were crawling, but they had to continue to make you crawl to make sure that you didn't touch it. These people need to honor what is ending, but they really need to honor what is ending because of how you are managing yourself, right? Like you were honestly in control. A beautiful transformation is coming. And so you've been working, you've been mastering, and as hard as you've been working, they've been lying. You working hard and they're lying hard. There's a transformation that is coming, and the transformation comes on top of relationship skills, works as a member of a team. And so there could, now this also comes out with love affair, right? Now, love affair, it's you and your people, it's you and your tribe, it's you and your mate, it's you and those that are aligned to you. And there is a transformation coming because the relationships that you could not grow with people that were carrying an ick or an offense, like that is where the transfer, like not only do you get your gifts, but you get your squad back, right? And so if you've been walking around a whole bunch of people that were crawling and just were trying to get you to walk again, your transformation directly impacts those that are also attempting to learn to walk. So these people need to honor what is ending because there is a transformation coming, but per you, this is a beautiful transformation. All right, let's get another one. The storm. And do you know what the storm comes on top of? Offended people. Offended people, those who have been wronged. But you know, these are people who feel that they were wronged. They only feel that they were wronged because if the entity didn't stick. They only feel that they were wronged because you were on vacation. You're taking a break. Life will get easy for you, right? They are going through a storm. They are getting the storm and you are getting the beautiful transformation. But you want to know why they're getting a storm? Because they tried to attach an entity to an earth angel and the entity couldn't reside there. It couldn't reside in you. It couldn't reside with you. So here comes the storm. All right, next we have journey, travel, distance. So you know what? This comes on top of I'm not carrying your basket. So do you want to know why the King of Wands wanted you to carry the basket? Because your life is supposed to take laps around the world, like you will be known. We have journey, travel, distance. So this is somebody that always knew that there was a platform, there was some type of fame. I mean, listen, if you were a past life Hierophant, if you were a present life Earth Angel, there is a platform. Everything in your life requires you to be elevated. It requires you to be seen. It requires you to be heard, right? Whatever you are carrying within is not necessarily for you. It is because you need to get it out. And this is somebody that understood that about you. And they wanted to go with you, but they didn't want you to go at all, though. They didn't want you to go at all. All right, we got our last one. Sacral. Well, there it is. It says sacral chakra, creative expression, sexual energy, and emotions. And so when we're talking about losing your destiny, betraying, and backsliding, this is what it was all for. It was because what you were carrying in your sacral chakra. It was because those were the seeds. If you were able to plant the seeds that you were holding in your sacral chakra, if you can create, if you can express, if you can have sex, not only with a person, but if you can have sex with life, right? If you in life, if you in universe, if you in spirit, if y'all can get together and birth something, you will take laps around the world. You will go the distance, right? And so this is what it was after. But guess what? The sacral chakra energy comes out with the Queen of Wands and it comes out with ascending. It is yours. It was always yours. So they're going through a storm. They need to honor what is ending. A beautiful transformation is coming because you're about to go to distance. And all they can do is watch. All they can do is be enamored and inspired. They know what they did, right? These were people. Oh, I just saw. So you know how I said you walk and you crawl? I want you to imagine you crawling. And you know how like little kids get on each other's back like horsey rides? I think about my sons right now. This is you crawling, and while you were crawling, the King of Wands was on your back, right? But guess what? As soon as you stand up, that motherfucker gonna slide right off. That is what it is. And they thought that you were going to continue to be able to carry them on your back energetically, right? Because there was an entity attached to you, but the entity couldn't stick. This is somebody that just wanted a lifetime of piggyback rides. They wanted to play horsey all day, all year, every decade, because they understood what was attached to you. They understood your assignment. They understood the seeds that were in you. All right, y'all, I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.